What's up, beautiful people? Right now it's Saturday. I just finished playing in the park. I put my son and my daughter to sleep. I am exhausted. They are exhausted. But I have to give you guys content. And today is a very important day. Today is a Palantir and Coffee Day. And this is going to be one of the most important Palantir and Coffee days, especially if you're new to the channel, for a while, for the next 3 months. We have a massive, massive, massive day for Palantir. Maybe one of the most important days Palantir's history. Period. Period. We have Q2 earnings of 2023. Q2 earnings is going to be absolutely massive. This is for April, May, and June. So remember, it doesn't really cover July, and it doesn't cover August. Palantir had a massive run-up. Currently, Palantir's market cap is $38 billion, and the share price is like 18, 20, something like this. It had a massive run-up. Literally, it went up like this, like 200 something percent for the year, or close to 200% at this point. It actually hit at one point over $20 a share. It literally went from $6 to $20 in a straight line. And one of the reasons why Palantir took off was last earnings. Exactly 3 months ago, there was an earnings where we had a massive beat. What's the massive beat? We came in at 18% year-over-year revenue growth when Wall Street was expecting 12%, and Palantir projected 12%. Now, 18% is a 50% beat over 12%, which is fantastic, but it's still a far cry from the 30% that we need. So in this video, I want to go over past earnings, past performance, current performance, and the earnings of what I'm expecting, or more so what I think we need on Monday. But before I do, we have some massive, massive news after Monday's earnings. You have a guy called Dan Ives. Dan Ives is the leader, owner of Wedbush. Wedbush is an analytics firm, and they're also an investment firm. And he comes out with this analytics report last Friday, so not this last Friday right now, but a week before that. And he gives Palantir a $25 a share price target in his bull case scenario. This literally shoots up Palantir from $16 to $18, and then the following Monday to $20, which was this last Monday. And since then, the price of Palantir cooled off at like around that $18 and something a share. So at one point, Palantir was over a $40 billion company. Now, Palantir is GAAP profitable, which is the generally accepted accounting principles, which means that we are actually making money. And Palantir has a shit ton of money on hand. We have $2.9 billion of cash and cash equivalents. We also have a $950 million credit line, and we're essentially debt-free, which means, at the very least, Palantir is not going out of business. And far from it. But a lot of haters are going to say, oh, unprofitable companies can go out of business, like Tattooed Chef and Wejo and, companies like this. Palantir is not in that boat. So, Dan Ives is going to have, the guy that made this $25 a share, he's actually going to have a Twitter space with Amit, Arnie, and Emil on Tuesday. And he's going to be on Tom Nash's show on Thursday, which is great. Some people hate on this guy. Some people appreciate the guy. I personally think all publicity is good publicity, and positive publicity is even better publicity. So this guy coming out with a massive $25 a share is fantastic. And when he did it, it actually went to $20 a share, right? He did it. He was bullish at 16. Maybe he's riding the wave of AI. Maybe he truly believes on it. I don't know. Let's see what's going to happen on Tuesday and Thursday when he speaks. Also, let's see what's going to happen with earnings. I'm super excited because anytime you have a mainstream guy, like somebody that's on CNBC, a contributor to Fox, and all these other news outlets that talk about finance, that's fantastic. Dan Ives is like the third biggest name in finance. Kathy Wood, Ross Gerber, and Dan Ives. So he's somebody. He's not a nobody, which is fantastic. So I welcome him coming on the shows to speak. Let's talk a little bit about earnings and what and where and so on and so forth. Okay. First of all, for anybody that's new to stocks, earnings happen every 3 months, 4 times a year, annually, which is the whole year. Earnings is like the Super Bowl of stocks, specifically your stock. It's where you can get an in-depth look, an insight in your company of how they're doing. Not just in revenues, not just in debt, cash flow, operating expenses, margins, net, gross, all these things. But literally an insight from the CEO, the CTOs, the CFOs, all the main characters. So I highly, highly recommend anybody that's in stocks should be watching earnings calls, no matter what the stock. But anybody that's in Palantir should for sure be watching it, because right now, based on what we know, Palantir is overvalued. I don't care if I get hate on that. Based on what we know today, it is overvalued. But I have a feeling that a lot of good stuff is going to be coming out in this earnings, and then we can actually realize this revenue in quarter 3 and quarter 4. Because remember, this is only for April, May, and June. AIP clients only really would start coming in probably at the end of June, beginning of June, and maybe towards April, something like that, right? Towards August or towards July. So I don't know if we're going to see that AIP money, but let's go over the numbers. In quarter 2 of 2022, we had $473 million worth of revenue. We had a 26% year-over-year growth. Quarter 1 of 2023, which was last quarter, which was an exceptionally good quarter, one of the best quarters that we had in a while, right? In probably like a year and a half. We got $525 million in revenue, and we got 18% year-over-year growth. We were expected to get 12% year-over-year growth. We beat by 50%, and we got 18% year-over-year growth. Most important thing is we had 2 positive quarters of GAAP profitability. We were expecting GAAP profitability in 2025. We ended up getting it 2 years earlier. 2 more quarters of GAAP profitability for this quarter, quarter 2, and quarter 3, and we will be nominated to get accepted to the S&P 500, and probably will be in the S&P 500, God willing, if everything goes okay, at the end of this year or first quarter next year. That's my predictions. Getting into the S&P 500 is huge in and of itself. Not technically or the fundamentals of the company, but in perception. Because when fund managers buy into an ETF or into index fund, they're buying everything in the index fund. So if Palantir is part of the S&P 500, anybody who had no idea what Palantir is or didn't even want to be part of Palantir, now when they buy an index like a SPY, for example, or a VOO, they automatically get exposure to Palantir, and Palantir's price is going to go up. For example, I think when Tesla was nominated to get in and then got in, Tesla's price went up like 40%. So the GAAP profitability is very important for this quarter, which I believe that we're going to get, and next quarter, which I believe we're going to get. Alex Karp already said we are going to be getting it for this entire year. So that's good. Now, last quarter, we got $525 million. For this quarter, Wall Street estimates is $532.7 million, which means 12% year-over-year growth. How do you know year-over-year growth? You take what we made in quarter 2, 2022, $473 million. You take what we're going to be making this year, estimated $532.7. That is a 12% growth. If we only get $532.7 million, only grew 12%, price is going to drop. Palantir's expected revenue for this year. So how do you know what Palantir's expected revenue is? Last quarter, they do something called forward moving guidance for the quarter and for the year. They said that this quarter they're going to be between 528 and 532 million, which is 11.6 to 12.4% growth. If Palantir only hits 528 to 532, price is going to go down. That's my opinion. Now you might say, well, Adam, but if we beat on high and low end, that means revenue and earnings per share, or at least met expectations. How is that bad? Why is the price going to drop? Because a growth of 12% year over year is not it. It cannot justify a nearly $40 billion company. It cannot. If we only hit 12% growth, expect Palantir's price to go to low teens, okay? Maybe even below $12, $13, something like that. I would be shocked if it didn't. I'm not putting out bad mojo. I'm being honest with you guys. I hope you guys are going to be grown-ass men and women. I'm just being honest. This is what needs to happen. At a minimum, Palantir needs to come in at 560 million revenue, which would give it an 18% year-over-year growth. If we get another 18%, this is good. Why? We're matching last quarter, which means that we're not going lower, and we're beating expectations for the second quarter. At a minimum, we need to come in at 18% year-over-year growth. This is what people are going to say. Oh, they hit 18%? Yeah, it's not 30%, but you know what? That's a strong quarter compared to the shitty quarter that we're estimated to have. Remember, estimated 12%. If we can hit 18, that's great. Now, if we hit 570 million, that's going to give us 20% year-over-year growth. That is going to start justifying in the perception in people's eyes the price of Palantir. I'm not saying it will be justified at 20%, but it's going to be the beginning of. What we really need is a $600 million quarter. If we hit 600 million, that means Palantir is growing by 26%, and that's not 30%, which is what we actually need, but this is a great step in the right direction. Now, whether we get 532 million, 565, 70, or 600 million, this, I don't know. I'm just giving you guys the honest truth here. What you take out of this is up to you guys. I'm just trying to talk a little bit about Palantir and drink my coffee. By the way, if you guys want to support my coffee habit and you want to buy me a cup of Java, I have a link to it down below in the comments. Also, for becoming channel members, which is buying me a cup of coffee, it's $3 a month. I got 57 channel members. I can't believe it. I do exclusive content. For example, I go over options plays. The next video I'm going to make is to show people everything about options in terms of the basics about options and getting a little bit more in depth and show you how to do it and talk about covered calls, not to mention a bunch of other things about options. So if you guys are interested about options and you guys have $3 a month and you want to buy me a cup of coffee just to support the channel, hit the link down below. I don't think you're going to be disappointed. Any of my channel members will tell you, I think they're all pretty happy because I strive to make sure you guys get your $3. Now, I'm giving you this growth of what we need. So we need 560 million at the least, and 600 million would be ideal if we come in this quarter. This is what happened last quarter. Our U.S. commercial actually grew 26%. Our U.S. government grew 22%. So you're going to say, well, Adam, if U.S. commercial is growing 26%, there goes that 26% that you said, 600 million. And if U.S. government is growing 22%, there goes that 575 million or so that you need. And yes, you would be right. If Palantir was only a U.S. company, but it's a global company. And while U.S. commercial is killing it and in line with essentially this valuation, give or take, U.S. government can sneak in there. Our government business as a whole is only up 20%. And our commercial business as a whole is only up 15%. Well, you would say, well, Adam, what does that mean? How is U.S. commercial up so much, but total commercial? Because out of the U.S., we're doing very, very bad with international commercial clients, and we are starting to pick up international government contracts. Now, I believe our international government contracts is going to go through the roof with NATO countries because of what's happening right now in Ukraine and what's happening right now in Taiwan or about to happen in Taiwan. So I think internationally for government, we're going to be good. Internationally for commercial, we are definitely lacking. How do we make up for this? I believe after this war in Ukraine, we're going to pick up a lot of commercial clients in Ukraine and maybe in NATO countries. But right now, we are lacking in commercial clients, and something needs to change. I think personally, Ukrainian market is going to be as big and as lucrative as the UK market for Palantir in the future, once this war is over. Not to get into the war. As long as Ukraine is the resemblance of winning. And what is the resemblance of winning? As long as Ukraine is standing, they have a government, they still got a functioning democracy, a government, money's coming in, rebuilding, so on and so forth. That is winning in my definition. Okay? We won't get much more into that. So, in the US side, we're doing great. In the international side, we're doing bad. But that can be looked at two things. Number one, that can be looked at, yeah, that sucks and we just not up to par. Or we have a major opportunity to excel and increase that market. I choose to look at the latter, that we have an exceptional opportunity to grow. One of the other things that we're looking at is growth in clients. So our growth in clients last quarter was 280 clients. The quarter before that, it was 260. So we only grew 20 clients. Before that, 228, 203, 184. So we were on 184 to 203, 203 to 228, 260 to 228 to 260, 260 to 280. So our customer growth count is actually going down, or not going down, but not as aggressive. We need to increase that. At the very least, I want to see 25 extra clients. Not 20, 25. If we have less than 20, share price should be going down as well. If we can hit 25, share price should be on par, at least justified, or beginning of justified. Anything better is good too. Why is this so important? Our top 20 customers in Palantir grew 14% last quarter. They went from, so this means the top 20 clients gave us 45 million per contract or per client in quarter 4 of 2022. Quarter 1 of 2023, they gave us 51 million. So our top 20 clients give us 51 million. So 20 clients is equivalent to $1 billion worth of revenue, right? It's massive. So we want to get more clients, and we want to increase how much the top clients give us, but we also want to have more clients. One of the problems with Palantir is we get the big clients, but we don't get the small clients. And that's one of the things that Snowflake does well. Since their product is very lean, doesn't do so much, they're able to get the lesser clients, right, that don't want to spend so much money. Palantir is the most expensive software, an average of $1 million for the software. In any case, we only grew 14% last quarter in increase for top 20 customer contracts. So I gave you essentially the basic numbers of what is expected and what I think we need in order for us to continue to grow, or at least stay justified in price. Now, I know a lot of you guys want $20 a share. I know a lot of you guys are calling for $30 a share at the end of this year. I know a lot of you guys are saying $25 a share. Look, if Palantir stays at $18 for the rest of the year, I wouldn't even be mad. I wouldn't, to be honest. Because we went up so much more than anybody thought, except for people that just call in blind numbers. But anybody that does analysis, anybody that's more into finance, nobody thought Palantir was going to hit this number. Nobody thought we were going to get $20, $18, right? So if we stay at $18, I would not even be mad. Of course I want 30. Of course I want 100. Of course I want $1 million a share, right? Of course. But we had a massive run-up. Just remember that. And if we can keep 18, that would be just phenomenal for the rest of the year. Again, I'm not telling you guys how to invest. I'm not a financial advisor, and I'm not qualified, nor do I want to give financial advice. But for me personally, if you're a long-term investor, you're holding Palantir, which is what I'm doing. If you're a long-term investor and you're holding Palantir and you want to take profits off the top, I suggest you might want to look into covered call strategy, which I go over with my channel members, and I did it for free to speak to a lot of people. Basically, I make a weekly salary, essentially, selling covered calls. Not greedy covered calls, 20% out of the money, covered calls for a 4 to 5 day stint. So every Monday or Tuesday, I'll buy for Friday, 20% out of the money, and I make my 2 cents a share approximately. And I make, pretty lucrative weekly salary because I have a shit ton of shares. Other than that, I'm not really selling Palantir, right? I wouldn't sell Palantir at these share prices unless I need the money. And I wouldn't sell Palantir if, it goes back up to 20 or even 25. I probably wouldn't sell it. But I'm just going to be selling, covered call options every single week. I make my salary. Look, let me know in the comments down below what you guys think is going to happen. I'm pretty excited. Honestly, I'm biting my nails. I'm excited, but I'm also nervous with obviously what's going to happen with Palantir. We have very big shoes to fill, and we essentially went above and beyond anybody's expectations who's seriously an analytics guy. I'm not saying Palantir is not going to go higher. I'm not saying Palantir can't hit 50 or 100, or I do believe it's going to hit $1 trillion in the future. I think it is going to be a $1 trillion company. It's going to be one of the first deca trillion dollar companies, one of the first 10, right? If you guys don't know who's a $1 trillion company, you had Microsoft, Apple, Google, Amazon, Facebook, Nvidia, and I believe Tesla. That's the 7 in no particular order. Guys, I'm excited. I am nervous, and what a great, amazing time to be a Palantir shareholder, right? We went through absolute shit in 2022. A lot of us were DCA, including myself, brought down their average to a decent amount. And, it's just exciting. Palantir is overvalued for what we know. However, there's a lot that what we don't know. AIP should bring in a shit ton of money. That is what you're betting on. You are betting for future prosperity of Palantir. If we cannot pull AIP out of our ass, if we cannot increase our client base, if we can't increase the amount that they're spending, if we can't increase and stack Palantir Foundry with Palantir AIP. If we cannot get these NATO countries, if we cannot get foreign commercial clients, yeah, excuse my language, we're pretty fucked. Because the whole point is that we have this amazing technology and software, which I believe we do, make no mistake about it. But that's the whole bet. That's the whole argument, that this AI revolution, this perfect storm, this geopolitical uncertainty, unrest happening in the world, which is, again, perfect storm for Palantir. Healthcare needs, perfect storm for Palantir. Uncertainty in the economy, perfect storm for Palantir. Basically, the most effed up moments in the world is perfect moments for Palantir to shine. And Palantir, like I said, has $2.9 billion worth of cash and cash equivalents. That's one of the ways that they reach GAAP profitability. They're able to invest in treasury bonds. A lot of people are like, oh, that's mad stupid. Bro, Warren Buffett invests like $10 billion every 3 months in government bonds. It's crazy to say that's a stupid strategy. And they have a $950 million credit line. So I do believe that in the future, Palantir is going to be spending a lot of money for some acquisitions to make their company even better and to generate more revenue. The thing is with Palantir, their availability to adapt to any type of industry that you're in is one of the core strengths of Palantir. Thank you so much. I'm going to go do some more work right now, get ready to make my video for my channel members, and wake up my son and feed him a little bit later. Thank you, and have a great day.